Welcome to Difficult Conversation Africa broadcast. I present to you the host, Yinka Olaito.
6 out of 10 of Nigeria undergraduates are cybercriminal. 6 out of 10. That is not just a street opinion. That is actually a statistic branded by or attributed to a top leadership of a commission in Nigeria, especially a leader of a cybercrime commission that deals with fraud and all of that. That is not just number. That is a judgment on an entire generation of young people who are committed. I mean, the chairman of Economic Financial Crime Commission, Mr. Olede, if that is true, we are asking that, is this a claim grounded on verifiable data or emotional generalization? Because when you look at it, it has serious implication. And are we sure that that is based on fact, like I said? Welcome to Difficult Conversation African podcast. My name is Yinka Olaito. In this episode, we will be looking at the topic that is very important to our heart: reckless or reality, interrogating EFCC claim on Nigeria undergraduates. Today, we will be interrogating the claim by the attributed to the Economic Financial Crime Commission Chairman, Mr. Olede, whether that is a reckless statement or reality of the situation among Nigeria undergraduates. And I would like to look at issues from different segments, and I hope that you will follow me as we interrogate that statement that 6 out of 10 Nigeria undergraduate are cyber criminal. But before I go into the segment that I want to look at, I was having a discussion before coming to the studio, and somebody said that a lot have been said, so that I should not get worried. That a lot have been said about Nigerian youths, that this is not the first damaging statement that have been made, especially that the former president Buhari had on international platform called Nigerian youth lazy youth. So, okay, but let's just leave that beside in one space. Let's interrogate this statement by the EFCC chairman. Number one, the claim and the weight of it. This is really, when a statement comes from a powerful person like that, who is supposed to be a brand ambassador, a leader, it is considered as authoritative statement, not just an hearsay or a street slogan. And therefore, if it is true that EFCC chairman actually make that kind of statement, what is the implication of that heavy statement? Don't forget that Nigeria image is already damaged internationally. And the fact that this is a cybercrime senior officer saying that 6 out of 10, that is weighty. I don't want to go into data and all of that, but sometimes I'm challenged to ask that what he's saying is that when we have a 10,000 Nigeria undergraduate, 6,000 of them are actually cyber criminal. I mean, where's the data? I'm not saying we must acknowledge the fact that the issue of cybercrime is nothing to be swept under the carpet. We must acknowledge that the trend is alarming, and parents and government should be concerned about some of these things. But the fact is, when we see that Nigeria is already struggling internationally with a lot of bad image and all of that, what happens? What is the weight of this statement as we go? Now imagine what happened to top official validating some of these issues. What happened to the student? What happens to young and enterprising students who are coding, who are involved in a lot of things, and who are doing great things? These are some of the things. Then, where is the data that support this statement? That's my question. Because somebody has already said it might be truth. It might be saying the truth. But I beg to differ. And there's a lot of things to actually interrogating that statement. The number two thing is the danger of generalization. How do you generalize a population, and you come to the point that maybe because of the number of arrests you have made, to see that 6 out of 10, that is more than half of the population. Now, if Nigeria population, an average data up to 2022 says that Nigerian students, undergraduate alone, is like 2.2 million. We are not talking about 20 to 26. So what the EFCC is trying to tell us is that, chairman is trying to tell us that an average of 1.3 million Nigerian students who are domiciled in Nigeria are cyber criminal. And what is the weight of that statement coming from a strong and trusted authority when we come to international environment? Cybercrime is real, like I said. I'm not doubting that. But generalization is what I'm about. That we are challenging here, because this is difficult conversation. We must hold difficult conversation. Leaders should not be brand ambassadors. Brand marketers should not be the one who is damaging the product and expect that, because they have said, it's a common saying that it's the way that you present your material that people accept it with. I'm not saying that cybercrime is not real. To say that 6 out of 10, that's hasty generalization, and we need to be challenged. That reinforces the harmful practices, and that statement alone reinforces the beliefs of people outside Nigeria about Nigerian youth. And it is not only Nigerian youth. It has very strong implication on those of us who carry the green passport all around. And it affects us so much, because writing a letter to somebody overseas now, they are doubting. So if you are quoted everywhere now, what is the implication of that? For many Nigerian students striving honestly, what is the implication of that statement? Because there are Nigerian students who are striving honestly, who are developing their capacity in coding, IT, and all of them, and AI capacity building and all of that. So when an average young person sit down at home and is learning coding, AI, and all of that now, if somebody say is a cyber criminal, what do we say? These are some of the things that we need to think about. Let's also look at the global consequences. I've already mentioned this. What is the implication of that statement? Perception is a currency, and this is really important, that we must know. How you are perceived is the currency that will determine how valuable you, your product, and your citizen will be looked at or will be perceived. Now, if at such a height, a person at that position can make that such generalized statement, what is happening? What will happen to Nigeria perception, both home and abroad? Now, if the same young people begin to look for greener pastures and seeking new opportunity in different foreign land, what do we say? Nigeria is not the center of crime. It has been proven globally. So why do we accentuate the negative about our country, particularly about young people, about our future? What is the implication for a Nigeria graduate that is applying for a job abroad? Have you thought about this, sir? What about a startup, a young person that is doing a startup on online business? What do you think that will have? What is the kind of thing that it will have? So the question is, are we reinforcing? That is, if we cannot prove the data. Because if you have the data, I'm game. I won't be involved in this kind of difficult conversation. But I haven't seen that data. And I think that fact checkers should also come out and fact check this statement. Maybe it was not an intentional statement. It might be just beside the point, because I was told that it was actually talking about AI within the Nigeria university system. Maybe it was during the question and time that this is assumed as a slip of tongue. If it is a slip of tongue that is not backed by data, I think also that the chairman of EFCC, Mr. Olaolede, should come out and say, I was misquoted. That would douse the tension than allowing it to scale. Let's also look at this angle. Let's assume it is true. Let's dig deeper into the drivers of cybercrime. What is the role of our politicians? What is the role of every other person within the society, not mentioning the Nigerian undergraduates? What has our EFCC? I know that they have done quite a lot of job, and I was told, or that is a pastor, so he has a level of integrity that is commendable. Why shouldn't that kind of statement be made about politicians who we know or who many assumed, let's just not generalize again, that a high level of corruption takes place in that place, even though they are not cyber criminals? The question is, what is the role of economy in this, if that is true? What is the role of parents in this, if that is true? These are the drivers of things like this, if it is true. I'm not saying that that is true because data has not proven to confirm that. But you must look at the driver of that insinuation, of that conclusion. What are the drivers? Economic situation, political situation. And why are young people doing it if they are actually doing it? Cybercrime is indeed rising among young people. I know that. And it is everywhere. We live within the society and community and we see things. But youth unemployment also, what is the role of that? What's the role of youth unemployment? Why see that the jobs are not there? Why see that young people are being asked to tighten their belt while the leaders are not tightening their belt? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. So it may be a systemic problem. Instead of placing the blame on the youth, am I actually clearing the youth or the Nigerian undergraduate of this crime? No. I'm only saying that let's focus on the topic, which is reality or reckless statement, interrogating the statement attributed to the EFCC chairperson. We are just interrogating. I'm a journalist. I can't be involved in random conclusions like that. And neither am I saying that he may not have his facts. But I think that the EFCC chairman should come out with his facts and figures to conclude. Okay, what is the responsibility of public leaders in all of this? Like, for instance, he himself as EFCC, as the lead person in cybercrime commission, what is his role? I remember I read an article attributed to him that some of these young people knew a lot more than the adults. What roles are we playing in reorientating these young people? How much are we taking responsibility for the kind of things, the speech we make in public places? Because we know that you are prone to being misquoted and some of this. What is the role of public leaders and their word in shaping the image of a fragile nation that we're already doing with? So the real issue here for me is not just what was said, but how it was said. And without a proof. This is my concern. And as I close this conversation, perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between, whether it is reality, whether it is a reckless statement. I'm not doubting. But my argument is, one thing is clear: Nigeria's future cannot be defined by a sweeping statement. This is really my concern. The youth are the Nigerian future. It cannot be defined by a sweeping statement made out of emotional generalization. It must be shaped by evidence. It must be shaped by accountability. And it will be shaped by verified data that everybody can see. I think being that we have data to that respect. No, nobody will query that. At least we will live with it. This has been Difficult Conversation Africa Podcast. My name is Yinka Olaito. If you have anything or what I have said actually triggers something in you, please do reach back to us through all our social media platforms. Or you can reach us to us at info@Difficult Conversation Africa Podcast. And if the EFCC chairman wanted to reach out, we are available. But I appreciate that he should think about this statement. If he was misquoted, I think it is good for him to come out strongly and say, I'm misquoted. That's not what I mean. Thank you and see you in the next edition.
Thank you for listening to this episode. For inquiry, please send an email to info@difficultconversationafrica.org. Telephone 0809 591. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Difficult Conversation Africa. See you soon.